This is very important that I explain and digest this situation. Some Biafrans have described Nkere and Ngozi Orabueze as being evil. In quotes, this is not my direct statement, but based on reactions and development of most recent time, they are having double minds about the position of Nkere and that of Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, that these two personalities are not committed to the fight for the restoration and independent state of Biafra. How do I mean? Of course, they are citing that these people are not toeing the path, taking the same step and commitment and energy of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who they believe are their leaders. Likewise, Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister. Now, what it means to be follower is to follow the footsteps, the ideologies, the energy, the tempo of someone you are emulating. And if there is a sharp deviation from the actual principles, way of doing things, ideologies being expressed by your supposed leader whom you claim you are emulating, then that will leave some level of suspicion on the parts of the people to begin to wonder what exactly is happening. I think this is where this set of Biafrans are trapped in, or those watching the antecedents as they unfold. Now, another people have said, what is happening is more or less hide and seek game. That they have not seen any level of commitment that could convince Biafrans that these people are really standing to fight for the cause of Biafra. That ever since Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been extradited and facing trial in isolatory confinement, and Simon Ekpa was also summoned in Finland for questioning, and of course we've seen that the court proceedings and defense of course has resumed in earnest, and Simon Ekpa has pleaded not guilty, making every effort to defend his innocency against whatever allegations levied against him. The majority of Biafrans are looking for leadership. They are saying that this leadership gap is still vacuum. They need someone who will unite the entire Biafrans and forge a common front to push the agenda of the Biafran restoration. Should eventually Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or Simon Ekpa, of course, is being taken out of the way, just as they are temporarily handicapped, what exactly could the entire Biafrans do? There are confusions and pandemonium. There are discrepancies here and there. They have not been able to manage their crisis, and this is not in the interest of Biafrans. In the last fundraising, in Dr. Ngozi's ex-handle, she made a tweet, a post, that it is still raining. That's the fundraising is still raining. It's still raining. People are responding even after 4 hours of commencement of the fundraising, that people, or supposed Biafrans, are donating, people who are zealous about the emergence, the birth of a new state, a new system that recognizes and entrenches good governance, democratic norms and principles, adherence to the rule of law, and that protect the rights of the citizens in view. Of course, they are contributing for a very cause they truly believe. Now, the question is, some people have argued that this money that is raining, what is the impact on ground? Of course, in the de facto government, what is the impact of the money that is raining? It's not being felt, as some Biafrans believe that the enemies, the Fulani invaders, are still on rampage, attacking the indigenous people, raping killing, including children, are not being spared. Of recent, a pregnant woman was shot, and several other villagers was killed. Yet the fundraising is running. But what are they being used for? These are the, of course, questions Biafrans are asking, and people of concern and interest are asking. Now, you are building, raising funds, and these funds does not translate to the security of life and properties of the same government you claim you have established. No, you said that Biafra, United States of Biafra, has been fully established, and these funds are being raised to protect the Biafran citizens against the invasion, especially the locals in the homeland, from being killed. Our mothers, our families, members, our relatives, acquaintances, I mean, the Biafran people, the eastern people of the Bight of Biafra, are being killed on daily basis, massacred. Of recent, they are on rampage in Imo State, in Enugu State, where we have had several escalations of this same thing. People begin to ask, this thing that is raining, what is the reflection? What impact is that making? Is it just raising funds and the rest of them? These are questions Biafrans are asking, are seeking for clarifications on matters that borders on the security, the welfare of the citizenry of the said or defunct Biafran territory. That is quite important. Another case with Nkere through Sonny Aparawa, the information minister of the Biafran Republic, government in exile, who believes they are on the right track. Now, in the last reference to the last fundraising they did, they were asking that Biafrans are not turning up for obvious reasons. Perhaps some people are sending negative informations about the Biafran Republic government in exile, and as such have demoralized some people from participating in the fundraising that they have direct access to the Biafran Liberation Army. Now, on the other side of Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, it is raining and people are not seeing the impact on ground. Now, to who are they sending this money? It's important the Biafrans want to know, and eventually what is the impact of this? Unlike when Simon Ekpa, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, of course, are championing the cause. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu prioritizes the life of Biafrans, and he affirms that no life of a Biafran worth spilling, no blood of a Biafran worth spilling in the Biafran territory. This is the reason why he is fighting, of course, to defend the Biafrans and not to kill them, to defend them against the Fulani invaders, marauders, who are, of course, on rampage in the eastern part of the country, just as what is happening in Benue today. Over 200 persons killed in a single operation that lasted just barely less than 3 hours. 3 hours. Now, if they have to attack, it means for a day, it means the several communities will be deserted, will be soaked in blood. Now, this is the reason why Simon Nnamdi Kanu was fighting. And Simon Ekpa, of course, was defending the innocency of the people, that they have the right to live. They have the right to protect themselves. Nobody has the right to take their life or to snip off their life. That is quite important. Now, on this part, so that but our race consigns, I mean, by default, these people are found within the defined territory known as Biafra. Now, why is that division? The strength seems to be weakening. Now, people who believe in the cause of Ngozi Orabueze are voting, raising funds, and the impacts not being felt on the ground. Now, Sonia Barawa or Nkere party said people should continue to vote and contribute to the cause of Biafra liberation and defense. And Mazi Simon was, of course, litigations, and the rest of them is history. Now, they said they are not getting much funds. These ones are getting much funds. Now, what is the impact of all this? How are the people being impacted through all this fundraising? That is important. That have raised several concerns among the Easterners or the Biafrans. Begin to question the sincerity, the commitment, and of course, the capability of these two individuals who believe they are in charge, but in reality, there is something fundamentally wrong. Who can tell us what exactly is wrong? Could you doubt the perceptions of people, some Biafrans, who have expressed some level of doubt regarding this? This is what somebody has to say. He said, Ngozi and Oge are evil. They are not ready to fight for Biafra, like Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa Njoku. Be wiser. Say, be wiser. They are not ready to fight. If you believe you are fighting for a common cause, fighting for the same cause, with diverse approach, there should be a moment of convening together, forging a formidable force so that you can push and drive your agenda. But if no one wants to reconcile, everybody wants to part their ways, it begins to leave some elements of suspicions among Biafrans who said, no, these people are fighting just for their personal interest. If their interest is the restoration of Biafra, if that is their collective interest, if that is what drives them, then they should be able to sacrifice their personal interest or ego to ensure that the collective interest, which is the restoration of Biafran sovereignty, of course, is at the front burner rather than fighting each other. So how long will they continue to fight while the enemies continue to build up, just as what some people have raised concerns, that the enemies are building frontiers, establishing more camps, of course, and concentration cells, spreading themselves across the eastern forest beds to unleash mayhem, to the point they are coming out to attack people in the cities. This is no longer typical village or forest. They are coming out to attack people in the city. And yet, funds are coming like rain. They are raining for over 4 hours. And nothing to show for it. So these are minimal, of course, confusions have left Biafrans, for some of them who believe that something is fundamentally wrong. Of course, you could not dismiss that position, not until there is clarity of purpose and commitment to the cause of Biafra. It is likely now Nkere camp are now giving excuses that because of lack of funds or inadequate funding could be a setback to the pursuit of the Biafran struggle. And some who are criticizing have not been able to contribute or make any meaningful contributions in terms of funding or supporting the cause of Biafra. Then another angle and aspect that needed to be rectified. Who exactly is on the right track in this regard? Not that they are in doubt of the possibility of the emancipation of Biafra, but one thing is important, that people need to harmonize, come together, forge a common front with the resources and collective intelligence and define the way forward. By and large, of course, you can't in any way change the identity of the Biafrans, regardless of their opinions or ideology concerning, or the differences in ideology or perception or approach to this cause of Biafra. The one thing is important: Biafrans are not forgetful, and they believe, of course, only time will define the truth, and no matter how buried that truth, of course, have lingered, it will definitely be assumed in the course of time. But for the meantime, of course, some will be apprehensive, some are convinced on their stance. They know where, of course, is the right thing. And again, I want to bring our attention to this. I want to bring your attention to this statement. It's very important. Now, it is very clear, it is no longer a subject of controversy that Amandabri sued Dr. Ngozi Orabueze. Some people said he denied it, it was not true, but I think it had been established now. It's not longer a subject of controversy that this is what the case is. Formerly, it was used that Simon Ekpa, through his attorney of the Biafran Republic government in exile, which is Amandabri. Yes, it is one of those processes to rectify what they believe is an infringement or infraction being observed. Whatever be the case, well, I believe Dr. Ngozi Orabueze has the right to defend herself instead. And whatever be the case, of course, equity or justice will definitely be served. It's just a matter of time. The truth will surface. And whatever is important. Now, what I want to raise, the concerns I want to raise now, is about the post of Dr. Ngozi Orabueze on the 13th of June 2025. He said the resignation. That's what she said there. I want to call the attention of the entire Biafrans. It says, okay, resignation, greetings Biafrans and the media. This is to notify Biafrans that Dr. Agele, the Secretary of Information Telecommunications, the Secretary of Information, Telecommunications and Postal Services of the United States of Biafra, USB/Biafra Republic Government in Exile, Brigi, /de facto government, Homeland, has resigned her position effective from June 11, 2025. Do you get it? Of course, the person in quotes has tendered resignation before she came to address the public regarding this development. As what thing is striking about this recent development, Dr. Ngozi Orabueze now is aligning with not just separating the United States of Biafra from Biafran Republic government in exile. You see, she is now recognizing that Biafran Republic government in exile is the parent of the United States of Biafra, and as well as the de facto government in Homeland. But prior to this time, she isolated herself, that nothing to do with the Biafran Republic government in exile. Well, if that is a way of reconciliation, well, of course, the door should not be closed. But if there is something else playing underneath, well, only time will reveal whatever happens. And regardless of whoever assumes the position, of course, it's not a subject of interest in this broadcast. What I wanted to point out here by reading this is that she recognized that the USP / Biafra Republic government in exile / de facto government in homeland are parts of the integral movement for the restoration of Biafra. Then if that is the case, why fighting one another? Why assaulting, insulting people, criticizing, condemning people, saying all manner of unfounded allegations and counter-allegations against one another? Sponsoring media and these cheap propagandists, of course, to destroy the very primary essence and objective of rolling out in the first instance. So you can understand that it could be a way of reconciliation, trying to align back or fall back, as people might say, you know, that we are not falling back. Now, by this statement or this post, Ngozi Orabueze directly is telling you, fall back. Perhaps she might not have the way of expressing it to the public, to the audience that have listened to her ab initio, and the stance, of course, opposition she may have maintained before now. Now, if that is the case, there shouldn't have been need to register a parallel USP. What perhaps they would have saved the energy is to build a common front, have a common purpose, and focus in actualization of what they believe is what they are pursuing. But some persons are saying these people aren't serious from what is on ground. Only time will prove otherwise. Whatever be the case, let's have your own reactions. Just open-mindedness, and let's discuss further what you think is happening or could be the way forward. How could fundraising running for more than 4 hours, and yet on this part people are losing interest or are being deceived, of course, to this or discouraged not to contribute? But in all these shenanigans, what is the impact of this? Because if the impact is not felt down to the grassroots, then every effort is just a wasted one. It is a matter of urgency, the preservation of the Biafran people.